Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting edition of The Strong and the Geek. I am your host, Josh Ramirez, and with me I have my special co-host, not L. Ron Hubbard.
Hi, I'm not L. Ron Hubbard, and I'm here to not give you information about a not galaxy.
Or a not church, or a not anything
This
that we
is
wouldn't
not
want to know about.
Scientology.
Welcome to our show where we discuss all of the greatest things in nerd culture, geek culture, and every other
Culture
culture.
Club.
No, we do not talk about Culture Club on this show.
Culture Chameleon.
We do not talk about them. We have a very exciting show for you tonight. We will be discussing all sorts of fun things that happened on our nerd TV shows, in our own personal and sometimes eventful nerd lives, and of course getting into our main topic, where this week we'll be examining and picking our brains to figure out what crossovers we think would be pretty fascinating to observe.
Yeah, we've done IPs, we've done sequels. Figured it's time for a crossover episode.
Why not? So, to get our night started, how's about you tell the lovely studio audience what happened to you this week?
Well, this week I started a new cartoon show that I started watching.
Yeah, don't say you started one. That makes it sound like you made a show.
I created a new show. It's called Steven Universe. Now, I started watching a show that I've heard of is pretty cool as far as, like, geekiness is concerned. It's very much like Adventure Time. It's called Steven Universe. You have a chubby little kid. It's also nice to see a show that stars someone who is not, perfectly fit. He's an overweight child. And being as I was an overweight child, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's good to have someone that I can look at and be like, he's a superhero, and I can look up to him. So, like, I could go to a con dressed as Steven Universe, and I fit the build. Because if I go cosplaying as anything, I'm always like, fat Spider-Man, or fat Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't do that.
Or fat Jabba the Hutt.
Dude, that's fucked up. But in any case, Steven Universe, it's a really cool show.
Are you actually considering doing that for Comic-Con when we go in a couple weeks?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, it would be a simple enough costume. He just wears a red t-shirt with a yellow star on it, jeans that are kind of rolled up at the ankle, and then red flip-flops.
Not a cape or anything?
No, he's just a dude.
Well,
and then he's got a big gem on his belly, where his belly button should be, so I guess I would just, like, tape a rhinestone or something.
Like on your shirt?
No, like on his actual stomach. So, like, if he lifts up his shirt, you can see.
You don't have to do that. You wouldn't be lifting up
crystal.
your shirt at all, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Is there any comparable character that I could cosplay as that isn't, like, weird looking?
Well, there's the 3 crystal gems, which are the 3 ladies that he lives with.
I don't want to be a lady.
You could be his father, Mr. Universe, who is bald on top with really long hair on the back and sides.
I don't know how I'd pull that off.
Has a beard and lives in a van.
Perhaps I'll just dress up as myself.
Maybe you can do whatever you want. So anyway, yes, we will be going to Comic-Con in a few weeks.
Harrisburg Comic-Con, June 11th. So expect us to give you guys all the updates all about that on when we do the show after that.
And we should make Strong Geek t-shirts and wear them around.
That would actually be pretty cool. I actually consider doing that too, but I don't know if we have enough time. Actually, that's another thing, that if anybody in the world out there wants to tweet at us and would be interested in Strong Geek merch, let us know, because it's something we would consider, as long as we make pretty well sure that we don't get, like, sued by Disney for our logo or anything.
No.
It's not our fault we have a buff guy that happened to eat something and color.
Yeah, he ate a magic mushroom, and it turned him into the
Spulk.
Incredible Spulk.
No. The incredulous Spulk.
The incredulous Spulk.
Incredulous Spulk.
Who
happens to read books and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't, like, turn into the Spulk. He's just the Spulk.
Yeah.
That's why he's dressed for work.
Now his real name is Brian Badster or something.
Yes. But, and obviously the backdrop, I mean, it's just, there's many things that are red and white with a gray circle.
Yeah, and it's not completely out of this world that every now and then he gets into fights with Admiral Lightning Bolt Johnson. I don't know. Yeah. All right, continue. Back what you were talking about.
I call the backdrop a Poconda ball. Anyway.
All right, we're getting to
off the rails. But anyway, yeah, Steven Universe. I've watched a few episodes. Seems pretty cool. Again, if you're into, like, Adventure Time or We Bear Bears, shows like that are for kids, but they're also, like, really funny, and there's a lot of jokes in there for adults. It's worth checking out.
And you were saying a lot of people now have been cosplaying.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of like girls in the different crystal gem outfits. That's the three female characters. I've seen some people dressed up as Steven Universe. Like, so it's obviously part of the culture.
Yeah. And so usually, like, you can always kind of have a little bit of an assessment of how mainstream something is becoming by how many dozens of them you see at a Comic-Con.
Exactly.
So, like, if you see only one dozen, it's pretty low key. But, like, for instance, at Comic-Con in Baltimore last year we went to, there had to be something along the lines of maybe like 100 dozen Deadpools. So.
And that was that before the movie came out?
Oh yeah, way before.
That was before the movie came out. Now there's probably like
100 million Deadpools.
No, everyone's a Deadpool.
Yeah, it'll just
you go there, and even like Batman has a Deadpool costume underneath, and you see like there's the Riddler,
the Incredulous
Thor.
Hulk.
Yeah, they're all just wearing Deadpool costumes underneath.
Yeah, that is not going to surprise me at all.
Even the building just has a big red mask.
Actually, they should just start calling it Deadpool Con.
Yeah, welcome to Deadpool Con.
Anything to add, or was that your...
No, although I ate a fish tonight that was delicious. I don't know where did I get that fish from, Josh?
I caught the fish.
He caught the fish.
I caught the fish.
I whipped out the fish.
I'm not familiar with any, like, famous, fictional, nerdy fishermen. And don't say, like Captain Ahab.
I was about to say Captain Ahab.
No, I'm talking about, like... I'm thinking like Marvel, DC Comics or anything. I can't think of like any like off the top of my head.
Link from Zelda fishes.
Yeah, the Animal Crossing gang.
Oh yeah, the Animal Crossing dude fishes.
I guess technically, was Arthur Curry's dad a fisherman? Because that would be actually Arthur would have hated him then, or did he just happen to live by the sea?
I don't know.
I don't recall either. But either way, I went and tapped into my inner whoever the fuck we're thinking about, and I caught a fish, and it was quite a battle.
Really big fish.
Yeah, me and the fish did. We combated. My ATB gauge, sorry, what the hell's a gauge? It was having a hard time like charging up, and he casts like slow on me, but I tapped in and was able to pull out like lightning too, and beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that fish.
That's how, and when I won, it played the na 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 na. It's like another song, not that song.
And then did you catch that fish in a Picanda ball?
Yes, and I gained some.
Was it a magic carp?
Yeah, and I gained some exposition points. All right. Anyway, no, but the other thing, what I did actually I did catch a fish. That part of that story is true. But the other thing I did that was really cool was I got to check out Kevin Smith and the Comic Book Men's Secret Stash.
Oh, that's right. You went to
Red Bank, New Jersey. I had to check it out. So shout out to the Comic Book Men and AMC and all their stuff. I had a good time. I bought a graphic novel. I bought Batman R.I.P. Mike sold it to me, so I'm actually gonna. When we see Mike, he'll be at Comic Con. If we run into him again, I'll be like, "Hey, Mike, you sold me a comic book." But it was funny that when I was checking out. So, like, right at the checkout, they have a really big movie statue. And from Clerks, yeah.
Is it the golden one?
No, it's a regular one.
Okay.
But it's a big movie from Clerks and Clerks 2. Well, we're standing there, and my girlfriend's like whispers, like, "What's that?" And I'm like, that's Mubi. Like, how do you not know Mubi? And Mike, who was checking me out, he's like, come on, don't throw the lady under the bus. It's a thing from a Kevin Smith movie. And, like, she's like, does he ever come here? And Mike was just like, oh yeah, all the time. Like whenever he's in town, he comes. And she was like, really? No, and like yeah, that's not unusual at all. And I had prefaced her that like no, this is like their store. This is a show they record in the store. Like this is, but she still was like really, like people, like celebrities work here, like and just hang out talking about, like they were all there, but the only one who wasn't there was Ming and obviously Kevin.
Was the camera crew there?
No, they weren't filming anything there.
Okay.
But they were all just there like hanging out and like literally they have the perfect life. They just hang out and this town, Red Bank, is like the nicest town in New Jersey I've ever been.
Word.
It was really classy. But they're just there like hanging out, talking about comic books, shooting the shit, and they get filmed. They have a TV show. Basically like what we are like pretending to be with this podcast is like there for, and I was just like, holy shit, man, if I could just quit everything I'm doing and open up a comic book store and be successful like that may or may not be the best life I could think of.
Totally.
That'd be pretty cool. And, like, they literally were just shooting the shit. Like, you would think that they were doing it for like show, but we were the only customers in there, and then it was the dudes from the show, and they were still just talking about like their thoughts on Marvel and DC and stuff. And I was like, damn, they have a cool life.
Remind them that we saw them in
I
New
did
York?
not. I did not remind.
Oh, you should have about the wheelbarrow race.
Oh shit! I totally forgot about that. I will. We're bound to see them in.
We saw Ming and was it Mike?
Mike and Ming, yeah.
Yeah, Mike and Ming
wasn't there.
They competed in a wheelbarrow
and I
race.
have the video of it on my phone too. We should tweet them that video. And be like, hey, remember this?
Yeah, we totally should.
That would be a good idea. But anyway, so that was really cool. The stash was cool. So shout out to them. I bought a sticker of the Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash. I'm gonna pop that in something. Give you guys some free marketing, and by free I mean I paid $1 for your marketing. It's cool.
All right.
Hey, and to be fair, if we get strong in the Geek stickers, well, you guys will have to ask us for some.
Yeah, and merch.
All sorts of merchandise.
All right, so this week we had the season finales of
Legends
of Tomorrow, as well as Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So let me start off by saying, before you go all Marvel on us,
Mm-hmm.
before we can leave our wonderful, beautiful, excellent, every other obviously biased comment I can make about DC, I will say that the finale of Legends I enjoyed quite a bit. I know you were a little more critical of.
Yeah.
Which tends to be a theme we've been seeing on this show, but...
Well, the DC shows for me, like, the writing's really terrible a lot of times, which The Flash, like, they make it work perfectly. But Legends, I feel like it just hasn't found its sweet spot yet. So this episode was just all over the place.
See, I feel like Legends this past couple weeks had been finding its stride again after a couple weeks of missteps.
Okay, so to just briefly recap this episode, we figure out that there is the Thanagarian technology, like I called last week,
we predicted it.
that
was
was on the meteors, and that these 3 meteors, for whatever reason, Vandal Savage needs to blow up to reset time.
Right.
Even though he has a time machine, he could just go back to 1700 BC or whatever, right?
But remember that.
But okay, I'll ignore that.
Dude, the comic books, man, the comic books.
So he has to blow up time because that's what makes sense, and they have to split up into 3 parties
to defeat Vandal at different points in time, and with the meteors
at the exact same time.
Right. But also to save Carter and Cher.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we got 2 new Deus Ex Machina last-minute powers, which I know Adam and not Human Torch, Firestorm.
The Human Torch?
No, they're on fire and they fly.
Everybody
Firestorm.
Tweet at fuck the Ben Ramirez. He just confused Firestorm for the Human Torch.
Stop it. So I know that Firestorm and the Atom have those powers.
That is Firestorm's main powers, transmutation.
But and I would totally find if they introduce those powers, but not for the season finale because he happens to need them for a job. That is Deus Ex Machina as hell.
Well, yeah, but Barry Allen went back in time in the season finale of The Flash last season.
No, that was the one before the.
In the season finale was when he went back in time to talk to his mom. Now he went back in time for a day, but this was the first time he ever went back.
But even then, they had set that up because they kept showing the flashes of yellow and red.
I guess.
Like this, there was no setup for it. It was just like, whoa, great! How did I do that? Well, obviously you transmuted it. Right. And you know what? That's the other thing. Dr. Stein seems to be a genius whenever the script needs him to be, and the rest of the time he's just a guy. But, at this point, it was like, well, I found that these 3 dates in which the planet Earth is aligned with the planet Thanagar.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the fuck do you know that?
Because he's a cliche comic book scientist that knows everything.
We don't have
even things that are completely outside of his discipline.
We don't have any telescopes that can see Thanagar. How did he know that? Yeah. And again, all 3 of those happen to be in the... Well, 2 in the 20th century, 1 in the 21st century. You mean Earth and Thanagar never lined up in the 18th century, in the 7th century? Well, Vandal has all of time.
Maybe he meant the most recent 3 times.
Or the 3 that we happen to know Vandal Savage is going to do because we were at all 3 of these locations earlier in the show. Yeah. So we don't need to build new sets.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but you do have to think about it in that way that if you have a good set and you want to save some money and... Yeah, okay.
I know.
Anyway, but not playing the defending game. So they defeated Vandal all that kind
All
of
three
stuff.
times. They killed Vandal Savage, so he's gone now. He's not going to be the villain in season 2.
Which good, because I thought he was a weak villain.
Has it been renewed for season 2? Are we sure of that yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, they perfectly... Well, we can just get right into it.
We got the twist at the end, which was cool.
So they're getting ready to be a team again, except for Carter and Shia are pissed off, which I was not.
I'm assuming they're going to get their own spin-off show.
No, I don't know. I don't know that. No, that's no talk of that. But I think that they're going to pop in and out, back and forth. I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, with the CW, they have Supergirl coming over, and they've already announced that like all these shows are just crossing over.
They're gonna and there's gonna be. They've mentioned that there's gonna be one big crossover of all 4 shows in December, like how they were doing the big Flash Arrow crossovers the past 2 years. Well, this one's going to be in all 4 shows, huge crossover.
A JSA show.
And it's going to be sweet, I feel like. But anyway, that was the big thing, was that it ends with them getting ready to get back on the Wave Rider and all this crap. Well, a big crashing Wave Rider crashes. Stepping out of it is a mysterious...
crashing Wave Rider crashes?
Yeah, that's redundant as shit. Mysterious figure comes out, tells him, don't get on that ship. And Mick's like, why should we listen to you? And he's like, because you sent me, Mr. Rory. And it turns out it was fucking Our Man.
Rex Tyler, the Our Man.
And I'm sorry, but even no matter what about the show, up to this point, I did get giddy when he name dropped, I'm from the Justice Society of America. I was like, fuck yes.
Well, and that's
get me Our Man, get me Alan, get me the real Jay Garrick. Let's figure out what happened to the real Jay Garrick. He's a JSA member.
The entire episode, I was like, oh, this is so dumb. Oh, I'm so mad. And then at the very end there, I was like, oh, but, I mean, Justice Society would be pretty cool.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? I would be fine with Supergirl. Let's bring in Power Girl. Have her be in the JSA. You just... Everything. Just go all in. Balls to the wall, Berlanti and crew. Just go in. I don't care. I know a lot of people talk about these shows about, like, well, you want to do them for a mainstream audience. No, fuck that. Let Arrow and Flash be for the mainstream, and even Supergirl. But let just Legends just go.
Yeah.
It has the name DC's Legends in the name of the show. Just go balls to the wall.
I mean, overall, I give this season like a 5. I found the show to be mediocre. I feel like next season has a chance to be a lot better.
I give it a 7.
Okay.
Good. Not great. Definitely could be better, but I overall enjoyed it. And honestly, I thought Jonah Hex was good, and I'm excited to see him come back. You know he will.
Yeah.
And I like them being willing to start taking those risks to go to the Wild West, to go to the future and have like the other Green Arrow and all that kind of stuff happening. And honestly, now bringing in Thanagar and the Justice Society both in the same season 2, that's a ballsy move, and I like it.
And the thing I like about the DC shows is that they're taking their time and doing some universe building, which is what Marvel did with their cinematic universe, and now you have this huge interconnected Marvel cinematic universe, and what seems to be is going to be a huge connected DC television universe, which if DC took a little bit more time in their cinematic universe, there probably wouldn't have been as many complaints as people had with Batman versus Superman. We're not going into that today.
We don't know what's going to happen, so.
But in any case, that's just an observation.
So it left us there. We know JSA is coming. We know Thanagar is coming to attack or something. We know that Shia and Carter are going to go start fucking again. And we know that something happened to them that they had to ask Our Man to come back and tell them not to do.
Right.
So I like the cliffhanger ending, and I'm excited to see what comes from it, particularly because we know that they're going to be crossing over the Flash Narrow and Supergirl. Mm-hmm. So that means if they're crossing with Supergirl, there's going to be some Earth 2 kind of stuff happening, Earth 3 stuff. Who knows? Maybe we will get our first look at the Crime Syndicate. That would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
And that's, Batman and them wouldn't have to show up, so they could whip out their powers there. Whip them all out. Dude, whip out their collective dicks.
Speaking of cliffhanger endings, I wanted to speak briefly about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know you don't watch it, so this is all going to be just my perspective on it. I think this season went great. I know the show has had a hard time getting a really big following, but obviously, it's been renewed for another season or 2, I think.
Hey, can I ask one question? Sorry.
What's that?
As a complete novice, so is Coulson a robot?
No. He's brought back to life using Kree blood.
All right, continue. Boo.
No, it actually becomes a huge plot point because that's how the Inhumans are made.
Take that, Hollywood.
It was Kree technology. So
can you say from now on, every time you say Kree, can you say like Kree?
Kree.
Okay. Technology.
Okay, so basically the Kree came to Earth like a couple thousand years ago, and they started a program.
So they were the Thanagarians.
They were They were going to turn humans into Inhumans,
Right.
which are basically just humans with powers, i.e., mutants or whatever.
Meta-humans.
Yeah, whatever. Basically all the same thing. They call them enhanced, but in any case. So the Inhumans were being created by the Kree to serve different purposes.
Now, is this season?
Well, no, they've been talking about this
for a while.
Throughout.
They're on season 4 or 5.
This was season 3.
Oh, I thought they were season 4.
No. So season 2 dealt with Inhumans a lot, and then season 3 has dealt with like the first Inhuman, which is they made an interesting connection, kind of. So basically, they find out that there was this one that was created first, and it was so powerful and so evil that it was sent off-world onto a different planet. Yeah, he's totally Doomsday. He's basically just a collection of parasites. But the
Flood?
He actually they call him Hive.
Oh, damn it!
But what he does is he consumes people, and then he has like their memories, takes them over. It's very much like the game Prototype. You know what I mean? Like he just infect, and then with other Inhumans, he can infect their brains, and then they like are addicted to him. It becomes like a joy response thing, and they just want to do whatever he says because they are so madly in love with him.
So a very dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah, it's not like a weird sexual thing though. It's just like they literally become addicted to him.
So no gorilla dicks.
It's like a drug. We actually I remember I mentioned that Daisy went crazy, and then they got her back again. It's because they got the infection out of her brain.
Right.
But then she goes through like really hard withdrawal in the next episode, and she eventually like goes to him. And she's like, "Please take me back," and that was like the cliffhanger for that episode.
All right, so tell us about the finale.
So in the finale, he has a nuclear warhead that he has created a version of his own virus that he's going to spread across the world. It's going to kill humans. It's going to infect Inhuman. Well, it's going to turn humans into these inhuman like monsters they call primitives, basically. But they have to stop it, and Daisy thinks that she's destined to die to stop it because she saw a future in which there was an exploding spaceship, part of a jacket, and a floating golden necklace.
Now, where are the Avengers when this is happening?
This is being kept super under wraps.
They wouldn't want the Avengers to know about it?
Well,
this is after Civil War, so obviously the Avengers now are...
Yeah.
But they wouldn't want to be like, yo, Iron Man, we need your help.
Okay, yeah, that argument is always made for all these things, but...
No, it's the same thing we were saying about, like, why doesn't Arrow ever just say, Flash, come on down?
Yeah, they need to have a plot point. In any case, they do manage. So, basically, there's a character named Lincoln, who is another Inhuman. He's been Daisy's love interest. He, last minute, decides, like, he can't let Daisy die for this.
So he sacrifices
himself. So he jumps on board the ship, pushes her out with his lightning, and then he flies the ship up into orbit where they're gonna let the bomb go off because they can't stop the bomb from going off. And Hive, who is basically the devil, they actually say that like most human myths about the devil are based on him.
Right. So is he like immortal then?
Yeah, super immortal. He's been around for thousands of years. They take Hive up into space. I mean, he can be killed, but he's super old. And they have this great moment where you have Lincoln, who is literally sacrificing himself to save mankind. It's a very obvious allegory for like Jesus,
right?
Especially because like the gold necklace, it's a cross, and that's like the last thing you see.
Okay, so yeah.
But he's sitting there next to the character who is literally the inspiration for our myths of the devil.
Yeah, so Jesus be devil.
And they're just sitting there next to each other. Instead of like a big fight, they both know it's over. So they just kind of have this moment where Hive explains that he was just trying to make the world a better place.
And then they let up a blind.
And Lincoln is like, yeah, but you didn't go about it the right way. And then the ship explodes. It was a really nice way to put an end to it. Daisy's really upset because you have the thing that she was addicted to gone, and the guy that she was in love with gone. She completely breaks. You had this really like touching moment where he's on the phone with her and telling her that she needs to move on, that type of thing. So then the show took a really weird turn though, right there, because it just it shows her crying and then snap edits and says 6 months later. like no commercial break in there or anything. I was like, wait, what? And then it just shows her. She obviously has left S.H.I.E.L.D. She
6 months later.
Yeah, it just cuts to 6 months later, which is
weird
interesting
for the Marvel continuity. Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to pick up then.
I was thinking about that. So she's on the run from S.H.I.E.L.D. She's helping out people that she was obviously connected to in the past. It shows you these newspaper clippings that shows that random earthquakes, which her ability is like causing earthquakes, and like banks being robbed and stuff like that. So she's doing this like rob from the rich, give to the poor is what I'm getting.
Okay.
But she gets away, and the show kind of leaves on this cliffhanger of like, what's gonna happen? What is she doing now? What's going on with the Inhumans?
Watch Doctor Strange to find out.
Yeah, right.
And Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
But it was really cool. I really enjoyed this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was like the strongest season they've had. And I'm really excited to see where it goes forward with it.
It sounds to me like they're basically just setting up an Inhumans show and not an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Well, there is the Inhumans movie, which got pushed back.
Okay.
So it got pushed into Phase 4. It was going to be late Phase 3. But I think that they're trying to set that up because obviously Marvel doesn't own the rights to the mutants.
Right.
So they want to have their own version
of mutants.
So they're doing Inhumans.
Right.
Which is fair.
I mean, yeah, you gotta work the properties that you have the rights to make movies out of.
Plus then maybe we'll get Black Bolt. And fucking yeah. I love Black Bolt.
You do. You really do. So all right. How would you rate the season for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I would give the season an 8.
Okay, so great.
I really enjoyed it.
Very good.
It's not perfect, but really enjoyed.
And speaking about mutants, we have this week coming out on Friday, X-Men Apocalypse, so be sure to join us. We'll certainly be reviewing it after we see that, where we will be able to say the word mutant without getting sued.
Yes. But let us talk about our Geek of the Week.
All right.
I'm going to edit out that long pause. Anyway, Geek of the Week! All right, so this week we had a very interesting thing happen on Ellen.
Yeah, we tend to usually like avoid talking about pop culture unless it like...
We literally say that we're a pop culture podcast.
Yeah, but we talk about pretty much nerd shit all the time.
Yeah, we don't really talk about
But sometimes things happen in the pop culture world that warrant a collective... God damn it.
Yeah. So the WTF moment of the week was when Kanye West was on Ellen DeGeneres. If you guys have not seen it, please finish this podcast and then go onto YouTube and look up this interview. It's hilarious.
Now, let me preface this by saying that I am actually a fan of Mr. West's music.
I know, we had not Kanye on our first episode.
We did, and you know what? Like, overall... I think what's been troubling for me is seeing him just progressively go from some erratic behavior to just pretty much... What's the constant form of erratic?
Well,
insane.
Well, here's the thing about Kanye. He's clearly a person who was crazy that got everything he wanted in the world.
Yeah, he's talented. His talent paid off.
He's got a hot wife. He has
2 kids now.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Well, supposedly he's in debt a lot, though.
Like, this is what happens when you give a crazy person everything they want in the world. They think that they can change everything with shoes.
He's a fucking Willy Wonka, man.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But our actual Geek of the Week is not Kanye.
No.
It's Ellen. Because she had to sit there through this crazy tirade. He went on, I think, speaking for 4 minutes straight, where she just stared at him.
And her facial expressions are priceless.
Yeah, because she is somewhere between bewildered and she's bemused.
Yeah, I mean, and her thing is, if you listen to her comments, she's not making fun of Kanye, but she certainly is not endorsing what he's saying.
She tried to give him an out a couple times.
Yeah.
She was like, don't you regret some of the tweets? Maybe you think you should think about them more. And he's like, why spend time thinking?
Yeah.
And she's like, really?
Well, and we want to give Ellen a hand.
Yes.
Because whether you're a trained therapist or a truck driver, you can come together and say, this motherfucker is crazy.
Absolutely.
And I think the other thing that got it for me is we talked about that Kanye West is kind of like Donald Trump. He comes up with these really long soliloquies about how he wants to change the world and how powerful and great he is.
But God forbid if you ask him specifics.
Yeah, and he has no idea what. And his greatest, if he is going to be specific, it's something about coming up with another stupid ass business venture.
Well, and it's another thing about showing how narcissistic both those people are when Donald Trump thinks that The Art of the Deal is the greatest book to be written since, quote, the Bible, which he doesn't even believe that. He thinks The Art of the Deal is the best book ever written.
Yeah.
And then you have Kanye,
who thinks he should be in the Bible.
During this interview says, Pablo Picasso is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Who else can you say who is alive in the same breath as them? And then he just holds a pause, and Ellen's looking at him like, do you mean you?
Yeah.
Do you mean you are an artist that's going to change the world?
Yeah. And the thing is like, I'm just not sure. He's talking about making the world a better place and everything. Is it by selling T-shirts that are
shoes?
No, I know he's talking about the shoes, but it's like, was it before when? Because he talked about how he's been trying. Was it when you were selling plain white T-shirts designed by you for over $100?
Right. I forgot he did that.
Was it when you're trying your new shoes or something, or is it when you're making a new album that? And if you haven't listened to this, the lyrics literally say, I just fucked this model. She just bleached her asshole. If I get bleach on my T-shirt, I'ma feel like an asshole. Is it that? Is that how you're changing the world?
Dude, is Kanye meta? Is he trolling all of us?
I think maybe. I think that maybe this is all like a performance for him.
It's like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Like his entire life is a weird.
Anyway, so by being able to put up with all that bullshit
and not lose your temper when he's throwing around the F word on your daytime talk show.
Good for you, Dory.
Yeah.
Well done.
You are our honorary geek of the week.
Yes, and we will tweet at you and send you your fake check in the fake mail.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so moving on to the main event.
Our main topic for tonight is our crossovers. And we have a lot of really cool, interesting pitches. So we're going to just delve right into it. Obviously, these aren't necessarily just film crossovers. Some are also TV crossovers. This is our own little fantasy, though. So they don't necessarily have to make sense with time and space.
And here are the ground rules. We're not saying like, oh, hey, Warner Bros. Executives, buy this idea. We're more saying, oh my goodness, what if these two met and I need to put my boner away.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
And stay tuned because just like with our sequel episode, we have a couple funny little surprises.
At least we think they're funny. Also, so to get us started here, this is what I was thinking. My first idea of a crossover that I've always thought would be cool, and honestly, same studio, a lot of the same writing staff and everything, would be The Office, one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yes.
And Parks and Recreation.
Oh!
One of my other favorite shows of all time.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense just thematically.
Yeah, so this is how I see this one going down. I imagine if we hop in the timeline around season 6 of The Office and meeting up with around season 3 of Parks and Rec. So at this time, Michael is still the manager. Saber has just bought Dunder Mifflin. So what happens is Saber sends the Scranton branch, because they do so well, they send them on while they're getting them acclimated to being a part of Saber now. Saber sends them to a big like Saber convention, national paper selling convention or something stupid like that. But it happens to take place in Pawnee, Indiana.
As opposed to a large city.
Yeah, no. And the reason why is because this is like a crown gem of Pawnee, like hosting this thing. And so, and like it's sponsored by literally every business in town. But
including Sweetums.
Yeah, Sweetums, JJ's Diner, like all of them. But the interesting thing is that so all of the city, like the small business, like and city government works together to put on the convention because there's all these people from out of town coming in. So the parks department goes working like triple overtime trying to make sure that all the parks obviously look great and all the outdoor activities and all that sort of stuff goes really well. And this would be coming right after the Harvest Festival, which is like gave Leslie Knope her big name, and the town all celebrates them, and the Parks Department are like the heroes now of Pawnee. So they're given a lot of responsibilities for making this year's convention like the best ever. So that's how the crossover's set up. That's how they meet each other, and they get into shenanigans them. There's some conflict with the convention or something that the office and Parks and Rec have to team up to do and solve. But where I see the laughs coming in is obviously these shows are character driven and how these characters interact. So starters, I'll just break through a couple of these pairs that I see teaming up and being a pretty good match. So one, obviously, our mains, Leslie and Michael. They're both high energy, optimists, goofy, sometimes borderline quirky. Leslie's a genius, Michael's an idiot, but they might not necessarily realize that.
Yeah.
And I imagine them really getting along and just having a great time, because Leslie being like, oh my gosh, I love waffles, what do you like? And then Michael being like, I love waffles, I burnt my foot on a waffle iron one time. And like everyone else is disgusted, but Leslie finds that hilarious, and Ben Wyatt's making that face like what the hell? And Ben Wyatt and Jim have a lot of that, like it's a tiny horse. Like, what the hell's it's a tiny horse. And Jim's like looking around like, yeah, it's a tiny horse.
Yeah. Now, I think, obviously, Michael Scott is going to fall madly in love with Leslie Knope.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't think she's going to feel the same way about him.
She's not going to realize.
She's attracted to, like, more down-to-earth guys.
Yeah, like Ben Wyatt.
Yeah.
But she's not going to realize that he's, like, trying to be in love with her. Like, she's just going to think, like, oh, he's so nice, and everyone's going to keep telling her, like, no, no, Michael he wants to have sex with you. And she's like, no, he doesn't. We just got waffles, and everything's fine. He's just I'm showing him a good time around Pawnee. The other ones I see meeting up, okay, so this is where it's going to sound like this is part of the joke. It's going to sound like I'm being stereotypical here, but it's part of the joke. So the episode would have a lot of the minority characters coming together with the whole purpose of them not wanting to, like, be a cliche, but realizing, oh, wait a second, we are actually the most similar characters in these shows.
Like Stanley, Donna.
So Stanley and Donna are like, so for instance, I imagine them sitting there and they're having a talk, and someone says something, and Stanley's just like shove it up your butt. And Donna looks over and is like thinks that hilarious and realizes, oh shit, we're both sassy black people. And in her monologue when she's talking, she's like, what are the odds that out of all the people from Pennsylvania I'd like, it'd be this one.
Yeah, like the only black person in all of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I happen to be friends with it.
Yeah, and well, Daryl would presumably be
there. Oh, that's right,
too.
Daryl, I forgot about him.
And Daryl would hit it off with them too. Mm-hmm. So the other one I saw is like Tom Haverford. Who's the only Indian character on The Office? Kelly Kapoor, who also loves fashion, very and vain, and same as Tom. So guess who's gonna go with them on Treat Yourself Summer Convention Edition? And then of course we have, this is what would be one of my favorites, Ron Swanson and Dwight. So at first Ron is like, Dwight, this guy is an idiot. But Dwight admires Ron because of his ruggedness and all that kind of stuff. Well, then it turns out that as they banter and bicker with each other, Dwight begins to fall in bro love with Ron, and Ron starts to fall in bro love with Dwight.
I could totally see Dwight being like, would you like to see my broadsword or whatever? And then Ron Swanson's like, that's a pretty nice broadsword. Here's one that I made myself.
Yeah.
And Dwight just loses his mind.
And I imagine it being Ron at first just really thinks Dwight's just a piece of shit. But then Dwight says something along the lines of about the beet farm. And how he killed a weevil with his hands or something. And Ben Wyatt's like, what the hell is a weevil? And then Ron's like, I kill weevils.
Weevils are a type of animal.
Yeah, I kill weevils here in Pawnee every weekend before I drink straight whiskey. And then
isn't a weevil a type of bug?
Yeah, I think so. And then he's like, and then Dwight would be like, oh, you need to try beet whiskey. And he's like, beet whiskey? And he lets him try it, and he's like, damn if that's not delicious. And then they're best friends. So yeah, I would see it as being like a 3-part crossover, 3-episode special. And basically, just everything about it would be perfect. And of course, you'd have to have a musical number in there with Andy and Andy Bernard and Andy Dwyer, and it would be a great episode. And the final thing would be, so I know if any of you were thinking maybe what I've been thinking, it's, wait a second, there is one person who appeared on one actual actress that appeared on both Parks and Rec and The Office, okay?
So Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones, because she's Anne on Parks and Rec, and I'm drawing a blank. Karen on The Office, who dated Jim. So how I see that going down is that Jim and Pam at this point would now be married, or at least about to get married, depending on where in the season it was. But they are like, whoa, Anne, you look just like someone we know. And they'd be like really hostile to her. And that's part of the joke is like Pam keeps being like inadvertently a real bitch to Anne. And Anne's like trying to be friends with Pam, but it's just not flying because she just keeps thinking it's Karen. It's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, no, you look just like this person we know. And
like literally the exact same face.
Exactly like her. And it'd be like kind of a wink, wink, ha-ha. But yeah, so The Office and Parks and Rec.
Office parking. I totally dig that pitch.
I think everybody out there would love to watch that.
Well, then I will also start with a comedy. I'm thinking Harold and Kumar go Back to the Future. Now follow me on this one. So, Harold and Kumar are, at the end of the last movie, they have cleaned up their act, they're grown-ups now, whatever, but they decide that they're going to take one little trip, have a good time. They miss their train. Oh no, what are they going to do? Well, they see another train sitting there at the station. It's an old one, and they see an old guy sitting where the conductor should be taking a nap, and Kumar convinces Harold, hey, let's just get on this train. All tracks run the same direction, right? So we'll just get in the back of this train.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
We'll, smoke a bong, whatever, and then we'll have a good time.
And at the end of the last movie, it's Harold does smoke weed again now, so he's back on the train.
So he finally convinces Harold to do so. They get into the back of the train, they light up, and the train starts going.
Well, I was gonna say, does the doc wake up and turn the train on, or?
Yeah. Doc wakes up from his nap while they're smoking in the back, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go to 1967 or whatever." Like he has something to do,
right?
So he decides. So the train starts rolling.
I want to go see the Mongols attack China. Yeah.
So the train starts rolling. Harold and Kumar at this point are so blitzed they don't realize that they're in the time tunnel.
Yeah.
They just like, whoa. Then we're really zooming.
So like the flashing lights of the flux capacitor, and they're like, whoa, what the hell kind of weed is this, dude?
Exactly. So they travel through time, and it's basically a fun movie about Harold and Kumar getting high throughout the ages.
Now, does the doc ever get blitzed with them?
I mean, if
Santa Claus got high.
I think if Christopher Lloyd is really willing to do it, absolutely. I mean, we know that Doc Brown talks about doing LSD and stuff, so yeah. I think he'd be down for it.
And look at that hair, man. Like,
absolutely.
He's...
So here's what I picture. They get stranded somewhere at some point because you got to have that in a Back to the Future movie.
Sure, of course.
Doc has to leave a note for his past self, but in this case, it takes, in the future, but it's a younger version of himself. So you get Christopher Young. They would have to use like CGI to make Christopher Lloyd look young.
And nowadays is completely beautiful.
And Marty McFly, or better yet, maybe he just sends a message to Marty, and we have modern day Marty McFly.
Yeah, come back
and he has to whoa, I got to get the DeLorean. This is heavy or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he has to show up in the DeLorean, and you just have this really fun romp. I think it'd be a big, popcorn movie, but also like a stoner flick.
Yeah.
I think it would sell a lot of tickets.
I feel like it would be funny to have Harold and Kumar in ancient Asia and encounter their ancient counterparts, their ancestors.
Okay, because one of them's Asian and one of them's Indian.
Yeah, so I'm saying it would be completely likely that they would encounter themselves.
So they're smoking in an opium
den. In an opium den
with old Harold.
Yeah, an old Kumar.
And they end up in some weird Kama Sutra orgy where there's old Calpen, as the ancient Kumar.
Yeah, and it just gets really.
It turns out that he's the writer of the Kama Sutra or something.
Yeah, or the Art of War, wasn't that a really famous?
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, it turns out Harold actually wrote that or something. I think that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good time.
I would check out Harold and Kumar Go Back to the Future.
All right,
it'd be pretty good.
Next pitch.
All right, so number 2. I was thinking it would be pretty cool. Now I'm going to move into the comic book world, and this could also be the movie world, because obviously we live in the era where comic books and movies are becoming pretty synonymous.
Yep.
But, well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. So here's my thought. As you might have picked up on the show, our listeners, and as you certainly know, I'm a big fan of a lot of the demonic characters in these stories. I like how they take the religious motifs and address them and kind of go with a lot of the religious mythology, but some of the occult stuff, and how they address that as in superhero stories or whatever.
Okay.
So I think I was always a huge fan of the Hellboy movie.
Oh, yeah. Hellboy's really good.
Hellboy and Hellboy 2, I like them both.
Yeah.
I've actually never read a Hellboy book, but one of these days I'll probably check them out. But here's my thought. Hellboy, obviously, if any of you don't know, he was a demon who was summoned as a little baby demon during the Second World War by the Nazi occultists, but was adopted by a professor who raised him to be a good hero. And he joins, and he becomes an American citizen, and this great hero, and a paranormal investigator, and he's considered like the world's greatest paranormal investigator. He works with some other paranormal creatures, so
like Abe
Sapien, and then
also a fish man.
Yeah, fish man. Also the Pyro Girl.
Oh, that's right, his love interest.
Yeah, but he is a demon, and they fight demonic stuff and all sorts of like folklore, and it's basically kind of like the show Grimm, sort of, is like the adventures they go on.
Yeah.
So I was thinking,
or supernatural,
awesome demon comic book character who loves to go on missions and find occult stuff. Who would be an excellent demon for him to team up with, who I am very much a fan of, and also battles the occult very often and speaks in rhyme?
Gone, the form of man. Rise the demon. Etrigan!
That's right, my main man, Etrigan. So, I've talked about Etrigan before, but for any of you idiots out there, I'm just kidding, we love you listeners, but if any of you do not know who Etrigan is, Jason Blood was a knight in King Arthur's court who basically followed Morgane Le Fay and her sorceress ways.
An evil witch.
And because of that, he was cursed by Merlin, and his soul was bound to that of the demon Etrigan. So now he is now immortal, and he walks through all time trying to make up for his sins by, saving the world and fighting. He's been a member of the Justice League, all that sort of stuff. But when he speaks the little rhyme you just heard, he becomes the demon Etrigan. And Etrigan has all sorts of cool demon powers, and one of my favorite things about him, literally, I like the characters with the silly quirks. He has to speak in rhyme.
Yeah, he has to speak in rhymed couplets.
Sometimes in some books he's written as he doesn't always do it. Other times he's done as he always does it. I love the stories where he just always does it, particularly because other characters catch on to it and kind of laugh about it. Unless, like Batman takes it pretty seriously, but like the Flash is like, wait, for real?
Well, here's the thing: in order for everything, like every thought that comes out of his head to be in rhyme, it's like, man, you really have to plan all this out,
dude,
don't you?
He is a Dr. Seuss kind of guy, and it's pretty funny. So this is how I imagine this crossover going. I suspect that Hellboy and his Bureau of Paranormal Research, whatever, the BPRD or whatever they are in, are investigating, something about Arthurian lore and about like some murders that happen or something that represent like Morgan Le Fay or something like that from Camelot or something.
Okay.
They're inspecting it. Simultaneously, Jason Blood, who is always into that stuff, he collects a lot of relics from that antiquity. Specifically, he is like an expert in the field of Arthurian legend. So they maybe go to consult with this expert Jason Blood, but when Hellboy encounters him, the second he's around him, he's like, wait a second, there's demonic energy like crazy off this guy. And they're like, yeah, Hellboy, there's no demon in this room. He's like, no, like, this is, like, something's not right here. And then they get attacked by demons or wizards or who knows what, and Etrigan becomes Etrigan, and they team up, and you know what? This is so if you do it in a comic book, that would be sweet. But if we want to do a movie version, I was thinking, so you obviously keep Ron Perlman, because he's just awesome.
Well, and imagine someone, like, talking in rhyme, and then you have Ron Perlman, like, the fuck are you doing?
That's what I imagine him being like, oh god, like they'd be like, Hellboy, he's a demon too? Like, are you guys like demon friends? And like, how come you don't talk in rhyme? And he's like, I'm not that kind of demon.
Because I was raised in Jersey.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not that kind of demon or something. But check this out. I imagine Jason Blood being played by Michael Fassbender. I think that would be really cool.
I'm down.
And then you can have Etrigan obviously be a C. If you want to do a prosthetics, that'd be really cool, and do live effects. If not, you just want to go the CG route, have Andy Serkis do it. I mean, but
he is the guy.
It might look kind of weird with one CG demon and then Ron Perlman human.
Yeah, that's true.
But either way, with the prosthetics nowadays, they could probably make Etrigan look pretty badass. And I think their witty banter with Etrigan speaking in all like ancient kind of like Shakespearean quips and his rhyming compared to Ron Perlman's like, no, give me a fucking cigar and my big gun and we're gonna go hunt.
You woke the baby.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. So Hellboy and Etrigan meet each other. It could be called like, I don't know, like Hellborn or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I think it'd be a cool story of the occult and like battling the evil from the side of evil.
All right. Now this next pitch, I'm gonna need you to tighten your belt and hold on to your butt because this one might make your whole mind just shoot out your butthole.
Is it gonna hurt my butthole?
Your mind's gonna shoot out your butthole.
Cute butthole.
Okay, so prepare for this.
Tell them to tighten their buttholes too.
Tighten your buttholes. What are two of the greatest movies, action films, starring one Arnold Schwarzenegger from the late 80s?
Pretty in Pink and St. Elmo's Fire.
Both of which are incorrect. The answer is The Predator and The Terminator.
Ooh, I was a big fan of both of those.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Instead of AVP, which all of you know was meh, we're looking at TVP. Terminator v Predator.
Dawn of Justice.
Dawn of the Machines. So here's how this movie goes.
Actually, that's a sweet title.
Dutch, who, as you know, was Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in
Get to the chopper!
Predator. Exactly. That's the movie where he says that line. I think he might say it in others, but that's not the point.
I thought he said it in Kindergarten Cop.
Probably.
He's not a chopper.
He does say it in Predator.
Get to the tuba.
I actually just rewatched Predator this week to like remind myself of some of the stuff, and he says get to the chopper. But in any case, so Dutch is because this movie I want to make it now. You know what I mean? Like grown up.
2016.
Yeah. So Arnold, or Dutch in this case, he's now like a general.
He's basically his character from the Mobile Strike commercials.
Right, exactly.
It's him.
Yeah. So he's a general, and he's working with a small, not a small, but like this kind of startup called Cyberdyne Systems to develop a drone for what is being pitched to the army as a humanoid drone so that we can deal with, instead of like just bombing stuff, we can go in and take out targets without having to, have collateral damage. However, to Arnold, or to Dutch, it's secretly a project he's been working on since the end of Predator. Because, let me stop right there. All of the stuff after Predator 1 and all of the stuff after Terminator 2 did not happen. This is a reboot of the universe. Get rid of all that because everyone knows it's all garbage.
If you don't like that, too bad. It's our show.
Yeah, it's all garbage. So, Dutch decides that there needs to be some kind of weapon that humans can use to kill the predators.
If they ever were to come back.
Yes. Yeah, and he knows that they will because the woman in the movie told him that, like,
and you could even take in Predator 2 as Predator 2 happened, and he heard about Predator 2, so that he has even more reason now.
That's true. That's true.
Because him and Danny would be presumably still, like, kind of buddies, right? Danny Glover, like, didn't they know each other somehow or something? Or?
No, I don't think so.
They didn't know each other at all?
Not that I remember.
Never mind then.
I'm going to have to rewatch the movie.
Well, fuck it. They probably would be friends after that.
Yeah. They'd be in a support group.
Right.
But in any case, so basically what I see happening is he's convinced that there has to be this Terminator, this machine that has, like, infrared vision, so he can spot the predator even if he's got it cloaked. That's why Terminators see everything in red.
Right.
That is cold, like a machine.
So it doesn't have body heat?
Yeah, because he wants it to be invisible to predators, but to also be able to see them. So he's just like, there's a scene where the scientists are saying, like, oh yeah, we're having a little trouble getting the core temperature down. And he's like, it has to be colder, get it down now!
Throw the mud on it!
And then, yeah.
Mobile strike.
And he has to... Yeah, it's just him saying mobile strike.
Every time. Actually, they would have to at least one part of that movie be like are you requesting a stationary attack? No, we need a mobile strike.
Okay. But here's the thing about the movie. I don't want this movie to just be another PG-13 blockbuster popcorn movie like we've been getting. This is from Hard R. It has to be Hard R.
You make it rated X. Let's make it porn.
No, stop it. I didn't talk in your pitches.
All right, fair enough.
And here's the other thing about this movie.
You said the you said the Etrigan thing during my pitch.
Yeah, but you looked at me for it.
All right, fair enough.
Anyway, you prompted me, damn it. In any case, so here's the thing. I think that this could actually be a very good movie for Arnold to kind of be like a retirement piece. You know what I mean? Like it's returning to form for him.
Obviously he's too busy making
yeah, right. It's a return to form for him. We could deal with some of like the PTSD of, Dutch having lost all of his friends and seeing them like flayed alive and that type of thing.
Also fighting a fucking alien.
Exactly. So like to him this becomes like a madness sort of thing. I think it actually could be a really good acting role for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It would be a solid Ben Affleck trying to get Superman out of there.
Yeah, right. So eventually a predator shows up, and it's specifically hunting Dutch because he's the one that killed a predator. That means that he is the most dangerous game on Earth.
And then he says to someone, "No, you don't understand. We have to terminate it." And that's when they get the name Terminator.
So Dutch shows up at Cyberdyne to check on the prototype, which he got a call saying that it's complete. When he gets in there, the place is torn apart. There's bodies hanging from the ceiling. And he freaks out. So he runs into the room where the Terminator is. He activates it. The Terminator comes online. Skynet Systems activates because that's the operating system for the Terminator. And he gives it the task of hunting down and killing the Predator. So now it's Hunter v. Hunter.
So they listen to whatever he says. This is like before Skynet became like sentient.
Yeah, this is before Skynet becomes like self-aware. So then we just have an awesome action sequence of this Predator and this Terminator going like, instead of cat and mouse, it's cat and cat.
Yeah, so the second act of this movie is them Terminator v.
hunting each other down and big fight sequences and whatnot. Well, eventually, as the Terminator is fighting against this Predator, you start seeing things out of the eyes of the Terminator, like we saw in both the Terminator movies, where like little text scrolls across it, because I really wanted to kind of feel nostalgic for that. And this is basically Skynet speaking to the Terminator, and Skynet thinking, because I see Skynet as like, they might even mention earlier in the movie that the program is created so that it can learn on the battlefield.
It can adapt to threats.
And it can adapt to threats, exactly. So it's adapting to the threat, and it's like, okay, analyzing. The creature is able to cloak itself. Do we have that possibility? No. Could we find a way to hide in plain sight? Yes. And that's where it gets like the idea for Terminators looking like people. You know what I mean? And then it analyzes like its ability to hunt down a target. And that's where we have like, are you Sarah Connor? You know what I mean? Like it all connects, right? So eventually the Terminator is able to kill this thing because it can't see the Terminator as well as the Terminator can see it. Eventually, at that point, Dutch at some point in this scuffle is wounded because he's there also trying to help the Terminator fight the Predator. He's wounded and he goes down, and the Terminator has to like get in the way to like stop the Predator from killing him. So the Terminator is also damaged.
Right.
Skynet, however, is live. So the Terminator is like looks over at Dutch, and Dutch is like, "Call for help! Someone get somebody!
Call in the mole strike!
Call somebody! Whatever." But then you see the text scroll across the screen from the Terminator's vision, where Skynet's saying like, "If we didn't have to protect this human, we would have been able to eliminate the target without being damaged." So the protocol that is to protect humans has to become secondary to defeating a target. And if these predators are coming back, that means that we cannot be concerned about the human population. We need to activate nuclear weapons and defeat, to kill off the people. Actually, it might have even got that from watching the Predator's little bomb bracelet.
Actually, that's it.
It's like, oh,
we can't win, so blow up everything.
Yeah, instead of dealing with that, let's just kill off all humans. That way, when the Predators show back up, we will be the only thing for them to deal with. And how about we hide in plain sight by making all of us look like our creator, Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger. It connects the entire universe. So at the end of the movie, the Terminator looks over at Arnold and like shoots him. We have this like, okay, it's done. Arnold's career is now completed. He can retire in peace. the movie sets up this new possible universe, or it could just be a standalone, leave it alone.
Well,
here's
here's my thought for like maybe like some sort of like this just connection later on also, that let's say the Predators come back but are also more prepared because that's what they do, and like the Skynet system determines that there's no way that they're going to be able to defeat the Predators in an ongoing battle. So they develop technology. The only way they can stop it is going back in time to the original Predator and killing them and scaring them off from Earth in general. So that's why they developed the back in time technology that they're ultimately going to use to stop Sarah Connor.
Solid, though.
So there you go. Like that's where the Predators are kind of the catalyst that basically fuck up humanity.
Yeah, that's solid.
There you go.
That's a solid pitch, though, right?
And you know what? Then a couple movies down the line, throw in the aliens in there.
Hey, you know what? Take this, Hollywood.
Yes,
please take this.
Take that. Ridley Scott.
Make this movie.
Yeah, Michael Bay, Michael Keaton. I don't.
We should tweet this at Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, mobile strike.
Predator v Terminator. This is your movie, bro.
V Alien, V Prometheus.
No. All right.
V Batman.
You know what? You just ruined this.
Oh, come on.
All right. Well, the Predator did fight Batman.
So did aliens.
Yeah. All right. So what's your next one?
All right. So follow me. Here's my final thought of the evening. So, I think that you mentioned some great 80s movies, but there are some other 80s movies that have been pretty phenomenal. Particularly, I was thinking about Kurt Russell back in his heyday, and when he had to escape from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Snake Plissken. So if all of you recall, Snake Plissken was a former Special Forces who became a criminal, was in New York City when New York City was turned into a giant prison. The president was trapped. He had to help save the president, and for doing so, getting him out of New York City, his name was cleared, and Snake went on to live as a mercenary in whatever he was doing. I know they made another movie years later where he had to escape from Los Angeles, but we're ignoring that for the sake of this crossover.
I love Escape from LA.
So, another exciting adventure that happened in New York City, but just a little bit before this in terms of our timeline for the continuity of this film, is a young man who has experienced dealing with hardened evil criminals, who is able to be independent and take challenges on his own, and also happens to only be 9 years old, encounters Donald Trump on his own.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about you, Kevin McAllister. Home Alone. A little bit afterwards, after the McAllisters reunite with Kevin in New York, take him away from the plaza, and the family's all happy, World War III broke out. The communists invaded. New York became a criminal city mastermind. Snake Plissken was there and got them out. This is in the same universe, okay? So
Red Dawn in this place happens in the 90s as opposed to in the 80s.
Okay, so Red Dawn can be brought in here too. Like, I wasn't talking about Red Dawn, but sure, Red Dawn actually connects to this.
So hang on, no, but that means that the Soviet Union fell and then invaded the United States.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. What are you talking about?
The Home Alone movies are in the 90s.
No, they're early. The first one was in the early or the late 80s, wasn't it? Home Alone 1?
No, I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're gonna say these are in the 80s.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, because Escape from New York was 1981, so we're saying
was it 81?
Yeah, we're moving up the timeline here. It doesn't matter. So here's the thing. So we're saying that, let's say the Soviet Union is still a thing.
Home Alone was 1990.
Okay, whatever.
Soviet Union fell in 1989.
No, 91.
89. Oh, the Berlin Wall fell in 89.
Okay. Anyway, so here's the thing. Kevin McAllister and his family are happily living in Chicago when the Soviet Union attacks America, a la Red Dawn style, and takes over the Midwest. So we can even make Red Dawn in the same universe as well, too. Chicago becomes a stronghold of this new Soviet-Cuban empire. And Chicago becomes like their capital city that they're going to branch out and try to take over the rest of the country. Meanwhile,
starting in the middle, huh?
Meanwhile, an assassin / former mercenary special ops working out of Chicago, observing all of this, named Snake Plissken, played by you, Kurt Russell, is doing his best to defend the city when he discovers a boy home alone named Kevin because he's like running from like Cubans shooting at him and Russians shooting him. So he jumps into a house and it's like fixing his gun and loading everything, and he hears like a boy like, "Mom, Uncle, whatever, Buster,
all Peru."
whatever Kevin's family was. He's calling for them, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up, kid!" And pulls him down. He's like, what are you doing here? And the kid's like, I don't know where my family are. Like, I wish that they would go away again. I was eating too much cheese pizza or whatever. And Snake Plissken's like, you have cheese pizza? Give me some. Like, but then grabs Kevin McAllister, and he's like, where did your family say they were going? He's like, well, they said they were going to like the safe zone across enemy lines. You know, he's like, the safe zone. Jesus, that's like 500 miles away. We'll have to get you to escape from Chicago, and like look at the camera when he says it, and then
Kevin McAllister says, "Yeah, because I was home alone."
No. That when he first sees him, he says, "I'm home alone." But no, every time they say something like that, like a line like that, Kevin McAllister would look right at the camera, slap his cheeks, and go, "Ah!" Like we got the shaving aftershave on his face. So then, at first, Snake is like trying his best, but he's like, oh, God, this kid is gonna get us both killed. But then, lo and behold, Snake gets injured. Snake like takes a gun to the leg or something, and is like needs medical assistance, or whatever. So Kevin like sutures up his leg. Snake talks him through it, and he's like, "There's no way we're gonna last through the night, kid." Like, and Kevin decides like while Snake is like high on like painkillers or something.
Anti-painkillers.
Sorry, I was trying to think of as something else.
Antidepressants.
On his painkillers, he's like taking a snooze. Kevin's like, "This is our city. I have to protect it." And so he sets up one of his cliche Kevin McAllister big traps.
The booby traps.
But these ones actually do what they should have done in the other movies and kill these motherfuckers. Like Kevin like has his army men but rigged with C4 that he found in Snake's backpack. He throws the paint buckets, but like when they hit him in the skull, they crack their skulls open. It would be a great directed by Quentin Tarantino, or like Robert Rodriguez or someone. Escape from Chicago.
Oh Jesus!
And the movie ends with both of them dying. Like they don't succeed in their mission. Like it ends with them. Like
what a twist!
It ends with this Chicago city limits sign and like Snake's like crawling, his arm's been like blown off, but he's like holding Kevin in with his arm that's still there and like on his knees crawling, and he like looks up and he's almost made it, and he looks over and sees Kevin's like died, and he like bends over and it's like having an emotional moment with Kevin, and then he looks over and sees another man crawling in the dust who looks up and sees like the ruins of Chicago. It's like, damn you all to hell! And it turns out to be the Planet of the Apes. And it's ultimate crossover.
It's all the movies.
And then Harold and Kumar come back.
Stop it.
Alright, so Escape from Chicago. Great movie.
Alright, Escape from Chicago. Okay. I also have another one. This is actually the one that would be the most likely to be made because this company now owns both of these properties. I'm pitching a movie that I call Galactic Scoundrels. It takes place in our universe. However, it doesn't start there. It starts a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. After the events of Return of the Jedi...
This is a Star Wars crossover, in case you didn't pick up on that.
Boba Fett was knocked into the Sarlacc pit by a blind Han Solo.
Where he would be digested for 1,000 years?
According to Jabba. However, it turns out that the belly of the Sarlacc pit is actually a wormhole across space and time.
Very interstellar.
Yeah, space-time. To our universe.
You mean the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yes, 616.
Yeah.
Now. Like today.
Right, like 6 months after the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale.
So Boba Fett literally just comes to, and he is adrift in space. What's he going to do? He's going to die.
Is he running out of oxygen?
Absolutely.
Do they breathe oxygen?
Sure.
Okay.
And, he's, like, going to die, except he gets picked up by a ship. And that ship is owned by Thanos, the Mad Titan himself, who we keep seeing in glimpses, but we haven't seen him have any kind of important thing to do in the Marvel Cinematic Universe
in Guardians, he chatted a bit.
So, he's just gonna make this Boba Fett guy his slave until he sees, like, Boba Fett test... We would have a scene where he kind of, like, shows off how badass he is.
Well, I would think that might be, like, Thanos, like, brings him, like, like, bring this scum or something, and Boba Fett just wrecks all Thanos' guards, and he's like, wait a second, I could use you.
Yeah, because in this movie, Boba Fett's not going to just be standing there holding a blaster rifle. He's going to be like the Jason Bourne
He's going to be doing his
space.
He's going to finally be doing disintegration.
Yeah. And Thanos is... You took my joke, damn it. Because Thanos is going to be like, hey, you're a bounty hunter. I have a job for you. And Boba Fett's like, how do you feel about disintegrations? And Thanos is like, what? And he goes... My former employer wasn't very fond of them.
Okay, well, yeah.
But in any case, Thanos is like, there's an infinity gem. It's this thing that I need, and it happens to be in the property of this place called the Nova Core. I need you to go in there. I need you to get it out.
Yeah, on planet Oa. Oh, never mind.
And I'm trying to remember the name of the planet now. In any case, doesn't matter. So Boba Fett's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I got this. So he goes off.
Wait a second. I think he would need some sort of compensation. So how about Thanos tells him, if you do this, I will find a way to get you home.
Yeah, of course. Well, and he has the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, with the gem.
He's like, with the gem, I can just warp space and time and send you home.
Yeah, and so Boba's like, prove it.
And Boba's like...
He does something, and he's like, all right.
Yeah, Boba's like, I'm going to need an advance. And he's like, what do you need? He goes, I need a ship. Yeah. And he builds him the Slave 2.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So now Boba goes off in his new ship. Meanwhile, Yondu... the blue guy from Guardians of the Galaxy who had the magic arrow.
My least favorite character in the film.
Oh, really?
I thought he was kind of annoying.
Yondu is also mad that he didn't get the Infinity Stone.
And his boy Peter betrayed him.
Yeah, so what he's going to do is he's going to steal it for himself.
From the Nova Core also.
From the Nova Core. So basically... I could see this as being kind of like a cantina scene where he's, like, trying to get a crew together, and Boba's like, you might as well put it down, because I got that myself. There's a big old bar fight. Boba sees how capable Yondu is as a fighter with his floaty magic arrow.
And we know from and this is the only time I'm ever going to quote this on our show, but we know from the Star Wars Christmas special where Boba debuted that he is an excellent actor and a manipulator to use people to get what he wants, because he was working for like the Empire that whole time in his Christmas special.
I never saw the Christmas special.
It's actually, that's the only part of it that's good. Is the short animated bit with Boba Fett.
Okay.
And he manipulates C-3PO and Luke and them into doing what he wants.
Okay. Well, in any case, so Yondu and Boba decide that they're going to team up, and they're going to be a couple galactic scoundrels, roll credits, and they are going to steal the Infinity Stone. Which then this becomes an awesome science, like sci-fi heist movie, where you have
that'd be really cool.
Boba Fett as being like the straight man, he's more of a tough badass. Yondu's going to be cracking wise, and they're going to basically just rob the Nova Core. Simply enough, like Ocean's 11 or whatever, the cool plan with the music, and then they get the Infinity Stone. They I haven't decided how I want it to end yet. I mean, obviously Thanos has to get the Infinity Stone because he gets he has the gauntlet.
I mean, presumably,
unless they get it to him.
Infinity War's gonna suck.
Either they give it to him, or Yondu is like fucks off with it, and Boba's just like, I don't care. I have a ship. I'll find my way home. Either way, I think it could just be a great movie.
Yeah. I would be fine with just a Boba Fett movie where Boba Fett just did that and Yondu wasn't even... I mean, the banter and the good cop, bad cop thing's kind of cool, but even if it was just Boba Fett working for Thanos, I think even that would be cool.
I mean, I just wanted a, like,
like, mainstream.
Yeah, not like a primary character, because then it has to mess up the entire continuity. Right. But this could be a movie right now, and it would not affect the new Star Wars movies or the new Marvel movies at all.
No, of course not. I mean, well... Unless Boba steals the Infinity Gem and goes back to his galaxy.
Well, yeah, that would screw everything up. Yeah. But in any case, I just think it would be a really cool film. And I think that of all these, it's probably the one that's the most likely to actually be made, because Disney's going to try and make as much money as they can. Yeah,
so out of these movies that we just discussed, I would be quick in line to see Hellboy Etrigan. I would probably inevitably end up going to see Harold and Kumar. Terminator, Predator would be sweet, and that one obviously would sell $1 billion movie you just talked about.
Yeah.
But none of them are anywhere close to Escape from Chicago.
Well, I did have one other quick idea.
Okay.
It's not a solid. I don't have a solid pitch yet. It's just a concept. World War M. It's a crossover. World War Z and the Muppets take Manhattan.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so basically, the Muppets are in Manhattan, and there's a kind of a T-virus sort of thing that infects Kermit the Frog.
You mean the virus from World War Z?
Or, yeah, but I don't know what that's called. So
The Z virus.
some kind of bioweapon infects Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog then starts biting humans, and they turn into Muppet versions of themselves.
Oh, cool.
So then we have all the great set pieces from World War Z where you see, like,
but
thousands of them running, but it's just a bunch of Muppets swinging their hands, and they're like, ah! And you just have, like, as people get bit, they turn into Muppets. So then Brad Pitt's just like, these goddamn Muppets. But the change in this one is at the end of the movie, Brad Pitt does get bit just so that we can see a Brad Pitt Muppet.
Yeah, what you say in that one made me think of my quick little last spiel, which would be kind of cool, is taking the World War Z idea, but mixing that with Planet of the Apes. So remember he was trying to make that medicine to cure Alzheimer's or whatever, and they were using that on the apes, and that's what kind of made their intelligence increase. Well, at the same time he's doing that, the I Am Legend guy is doing his cure for cancer that turns them all into zombies. So now the apes are immune to the zombie thing, and so it'd be apes v zombies. And that's just my Planet Z of the apes or something.
Legend.
I am Legend of the
Planet I am a
Apes.
Planet of the Z apes.
All right,
I'm a Planet of the Z apes.
We should probably quit while we're ahead.
So those are our crossovers. I hope you enjoyed that.
And you know what? Everyone, here's your comic book news that we did not mention. That in a real life crossovers this week, I'm pretty sure this week, Batman 66 and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. crossed over in a book. So that's
neat.
That just has a good old Adam West Batman connecting with another fun spy 60s TV show. So
neat.
And I hear that Batman 66 is actually a great book. I haven't read it at all yet, but yeah, I might check it out.
Awesome. Well, I think all of these crossovers should take us right into our
weekly crossover.
Clash of the Tides.
Chicka chicka.
Oh, yeah.
So last week on Clash of the Tights, we pitted serial killers against one another. Tony the Tiger versus Lucky the Leprechaun. And how did that fight turn out?
Well, we go into the Twitterverse, and we find that Lucky the Leprechaun won in a landslide.
He did.
In fact, I think we might have been... we didn't get many votes on this one.
Yeah, this, compared to an election that has had the most votes in history, this week didn't have so many votes for Tony v. Lucky. However, everyone I spoke to about it said the same thing, that unanimously it was Lucky.
Yeah, he might be a ferocious tiger, but Lucky the
has
Leprechaun is an immortal...
I think a direct quote I heard was, "Oh, Lucky, fuck yeah." So... yeah, congratulations, Lucky. You sit in the Hall of Champions with Thor of Asgard, the Ra's al Ghul, and a whole bunch of other
there's been a lot of them.
Mulan.
But in any case, yes. So, moving on to this week's matchup, we have two combatants of
90s television lore.
Yes, and genius-level intellects.
In corner one, we have Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory.
The boy genius.
The boy genius. Dexter stands at approximately maybe 3 feet tall. However, his height is no disadvantage because he has massive genius-level intellect, basically unlimited resources, the ability to create anything he would need, a massive laboratory.
How does he bankroll all that?
I have no idea. He is an expert pilot and machinist, engineer, strategist.
He creates Jaegers.
He has tanks, helicopters, submarines that come together. Voltron, everything in the world. And he has a pet monkey that's a superhero. So, but we're not counting monkey in this one.
But he obviously knows about simians,
and he knows,
which might help him.
Because his challenger is...
In corner two, we have Mojo Jojo.
From the Powerpuff Girls.
Villain from the Powerpuff Girls.
Arguably their arch nemesis.
Absolutely. Inarguably, I'd say. He is also a genius-level intellect.
Now, he was an ape that was experimented on.
Yes, and he eventually had a brain grow out of his head.
And donned his suit, and also has unlimited resources and vast amounts of evil machinery that he uses to terrorize Townsville.
He has many very large weapons. He is pure evil, and we saw in the Powerpuff Girls movie, he does have the ability to, change everyone in the world into a monkey.
And he is pure evil. Like, he wants to, like, destroy society.
Yeah.
Dexter,
as opposed to Dexter, who kind of just
wants to benefit society with his science.
He wants to advance the cause of learning.
He wants to be the greatest scientist ever. So, how do you see this one going down?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to first start off with giant robots fighting.
Oh, yeah, giant ape robot versus giant
and they're going
to
rip themselves to shreds, and then eventually it's going to come down to who's got the biggest laser gun. And I think in the long run, Mojo Jojo has no qualms about killing children. That's his whole thing. He's trying to kill children.
That's
but
true.
The 3 kids that he's trying to kill have like all the powers of Superman,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Dexter's just one boy with no superpowers.
I think that Dexter, here's my take. Dexter beats Dexter and Mojo's robots beat each other. I agree, equally. Mojo and Dexter use their laser guns and all the other gadgets and technology. Doesn't matter. They're equals. But then Dexter takes his serum that turned him into that Godzilla beast in that one episode and just obviously wins. Because Godzilla beast just stomps on Mojo. Win Dexter. And then he transforms back into naked Dexter and is like, oh, what happened? And then the real winner, of course, as always, would be Dee Dee.
Oh, well, there was also that time where Dexter made himself like the incredulous Spulk.
Yeah, that's true.
With like spinach and broccoli
I think he would use one of those things and he would win.
Yeah, although Mojo Jojo probably also has a thing that could turn him into a giant monster.
I
don't know if we've seen that in the show.
We're canon. We don't have that.
All right, good point.
So for me, win Dexter.
I'm still gonna say that Mojo's gonna find a way to kill him.
You would say he'd kill him before he could even...
Yeah, I think Mojo, he might be a bit bumbling, but if he can hold his own and survive the beatdowns that he gets from the Powerpuff Girls, then, like, obviously he must have some kind of healing factor.
Yeah, or something, yeah. All right, so we're split, as sometimes happens. I think Dexter would pull it out of his lab.
And I say Mojo Jojo would give it to him.
So, dirty. We will put this one on the Twitterverse and see what you all have to say. And hopefully more than a couple of you will vote, you little shits. So that's going to be our show for the evening. Join us next week when we'll be talking about and reviewing X-Men Apocalypse, which I'm looking forward to.
As well as the season finales for Flash.
Oh, of course, Flash and Arrow, which will debut this week. I'm looking forward to all of these things quite a bit. Even Arrow.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next time on another exciting episode of The Strong and the Geek!
Be sure to listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, or if you ever want to stop by in our live studio audience and listen to us live, call us first and maybe we could arrange that.
Ooh, and merch. Merch us, like if you want merchandise, seriously, hit us up and we'll possibly get some stuff made.
Yeah, we will gauge if there's an interest in it.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Strong and Geek. You can follow me personally at The Ben Ramirez. You can follow him at Ramirez for Prez. And that's the show.
And one final thing I want to mention, just a shout out to the lovely couple that I met in Baltimore this weekend, who I gave a plug to the show to. I told them that I would mention them on the show this week. No names for the sake of anonymity, but I hope you all listen, and if not, well, fuck me. So.
Bye, guys. Come.
Oh, no.
Bye, guys. It's been fun.
Thank you for staying for our after-credits scene.
Whoa!
If you figured it out by now, we love to have post-credits scenes, but totally unrelated to Marvel or anything that is trademarked.
Fuck you, Marvel.
It's me, your boy, Peter. That's Peeder. Parker. Parcker.
And it's me, Peter Porker.
God damn it. Peter